What's up, everybody? Welcome to Tones Overthinks It, the show where I think too much to make up for the people who don't think at all. So, now that I've gotten a taste for going after deluded grifters and scammers, and as we eagerly await the next ridiculousness of a certain grifter and scammer, I figured we could take this time to see what else is out there. So, let's start with a self-proclaimed health guru who may not only be nuttier than squirrel poop, but could be filled with it too.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Michael at MB Wellness. I'm gathering them in North Carolina, in the Raleigh-Durham region, and I'm gathering acorns for the fall and winter.
What are you, stuffing them in your cheeks or hoarding them in a tree?
These are high in iron, but you have to remove the tannins because the tannins are really high. It's that bitterness, much like what's in wine. If they're not removed, it's very toxic. So these are wonderful. Let's see what they look like. They have that hair on them first. As they fall, that hair falls off, and you can grab these. If you have them in your region, grab them, boil them for about 15 minutes, replace the water with fresh, cool water, let sit for a little while, let them dry out, and you can crush them into a flour, or you can just eat them. After you remove the tannins, you can roast them in the oven, and you get plenty of iron and manganese and plenty of other phytochemicals to help you through the winter months.
Yeah, if you happen to be in a famine or living in prehistoric times. Okay, I don't want to come down too hard on this guy. I mean, acorns have been deemed edible for humans, but it's not as simple as he claims. Now, it has been confirmed by science that acorns do in fact contain a number of beneficial nutrients, so I will give credit where it's due for pointing out this information. The problem is he's left out something pretty important, and that's that you can't exactly eat any and all acorns you find. To better explain this, let's take a look at someone who better understands that a short Instagram post is not exactly the ideal place to give sound health advice.
Can I eat these? I mean, it seems like an ample supply of free food, and the squirrels sure do seem to dig them. Yeah, you can eat acorns. They were a staple food back in our hunter-gatherer days, but there's a reason that agricultural societies have generally only eaten acorns in times of famine. The nuts of oak trees are, to varying degrees, toxic and gross. Most oak species fall into the red oak group or the white oak group. The names come from how the wood looks when first cut, or some people say it comes from how the leaves look in the fall. It's not easy to tell a white oak from a red oak, but this is a white oak, judging by the relatively rough bark, the rounded tips on its leaves, and the fact that its thin little acorns do not taste like straight poison. And then you've got red oaks, slightly smoother bark, pointier leaves, fatter acorns, and these ones taste like straight poison. Remember, an acorn is a nut, so it's encased in an inedible hard shell. You have to smash your nuts to get to the oily meats inside, which taste pretty much like drain cleaner, and could kill you if you ate a whole lot of them raw.
Shout out, by the way, to Adam Ragusea's channel and that incredibly informative video. It's amazing what you can find on YouTube these days when Chili's not there. So the point is, we have the self-proclaimed health guru on Instagram who claims that acorns are good for you, but neglects to mention that you have to be very specific on which ones you pick up and eat, because picking the wrong one could probably have terrible consequences. Now, to be fair, this is only a minor mistake, and I don't think we can hold it against him for just this one thing. If it was the only thing.
I've created some calcium powder here, and this is from organic free-to-forage eggshells that once I've cracked, I rinse them off really good. And they do say to boil the eggshells afterwards to avoid salmonella. Me personally, I don't worry about that. I wash them thoroughly, not with soap, just with cool water.
What? Okay, now we're getting into red flag territory here, and you may very well start to question whether or not this guy knows what he's talking about, because I'm pretty sure simply rinsing something off without any kind of sterilizing agent, or at the very least, water that's at a high enough temperature, will not kill bacteria. Don't take my word for it. Take the U.S. Department of Agriculture's word for it, who confirm that simply wiping or rinsing a surface will not remove bacteria from it. Not to mention the number of articles out there that remind us that salmonella can persist in water and use it as a means to spread to other surfaces. So that's just 2 cases so far where this person has failed to divulge important information that could be vital to preventing sickness or even death. So if this guy's trying to sell himself as a health expert, he is woefully lazy in that regard, and dare I say even negligent. I mean, we're talking about someone who is willing to risk people getting sick, including himself, just because he doesn't want to take the time to warn people about what trees to avoid, or just to boil some freaking water. If you want to share knowledge that will benefit people in any capacity, whether it's health or legal matters, that's noble and all, but you gotta take it seriously. There are responsibilities that come with the job. It's not just a matter of, I say things that I think are right, therefore you must praise me for them. I mean, if you're gonna adopt such a lax attitude to this whole thing, then this is definitely not your field. So after those 2 moments of questionable judgment, let's give this guy one last chance to redeem himself.
Every herb I've discussed so far has these micronutrients, plenty of vitamins and minerals, phytochemicals, flavonoids, those types of things. And they're all very beneficial. But alfalfa is one of those plants, the leaves and the seeds of that plant are extremely powerful. They have an abundance of B vitamins. 1, 3, 5, 6, 7, 9, and 12. So the misconception of getting your B12 only from animals is completely incorrect. That's why herbs and plant proteins are so important. And that's why you should eat several servings a day, several cups a day of plant proteins. And specifically, you have vitamin C, D, E, and K. K is potassium.
And there it is, ladies and gentlemen. We've just moved from laziness to ignorance to flat-out stupidity. Vitamin K is not potassium, but rather a family of fat-soluble vitamins that are essential for blood coagulation and retaining calcium in bones and other tissues. K is the chemical symbol for potassium, and on that basis he just assumes that's what vitamin K is. So by that logic, is vitamin C really carbon? Or perhaps maybe vitamin B is actually boron, which is used to treat osteoarthritis, increase testosterone, treat yeast infections by women inserting it into their control rods in the nuclear reactors?
Wow, real smooth.
Shut up. So yeah, it's one thing to be slightly forgetful of a fact, or share your own personal opinion at your own personal risk, but it's a whole nother level when you can't even be bothered to do basic research before trying to pitch whatever nonsense you're selling. And if you need further proof, here's this guy's website, where he offers wellness and nutrition counseling, but when you actually see what his profession is, he's just a massage therapist, not a dietitian or any kind of medical professional whatsoever. Which brings me to my point of this video. Whether we're dealing with a frauditor, a sovsit, or any kind of grifter, they all have one thing in common. They all want to try to sell you on the idea that they know better than what everyone else is telling you. They have a dissenting opinion, and they feel if they can convince more people to share in it, it gives them legitimacy, all while happily accepting any financial gains or attention that it brings them. And at the end of the day, that's their true motive. They don't care about the potential consequences that could befall people who take their advice, because once you've taken it, or otherwise no longer serve any real purpose, they'll just abandon you. They don't care how loyal you are, they don't care how much you defend them online. If they decide to move on to the next grift, they're gone, and you're not even a memory to them. So if you're going to show up in my comment section to adamantly defend someone who's been MIA for well over a month, with no status updates or any kind of communication whatsoever with their fans, ask yourself this question. Why am I the one who's still around willing to even acknowledge you, and he isn't? But then again, maybe I'm just overthinking it. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you like what you see here and you want to see us do even more in the future, be sure to subscribe to my channel. Please remember to hit that like button and feel free to share your thoughts in the comment section below. I always like to read them. Of course, a big shout out and thank you to all my amazing channel members. Your support is always appreciated. And if you'd like to show your support, consider becoming a member yourself or head on over to www.tonesoverthings.com and get yourself some exclusive quality channel merch. Links in the description. Till next time, everybody.